You know what? I think you might have made the right call by sitting out of the scary stories by the campfire thing we just did. The s'mores were good. Here, I brought you one. But it ended up just devolving into who can jump scare the others the most. And you could probably hear Jess screaming from in here. So imagine what that sounded like sitting right next to her. Yeah, I gotta see if hearing benefits are a thing because I might need to replace my eardrum after that. It still amazes me that such a small girl can produce such overbearing and insanely loud noises. I know you said you were tired, but I just wanted to check again to make sure. Are you positive that you're feeling okay? Cool, because if you're not and you find it kind of weird that Liv and Mike paired us up to sleep in a tent together, I totally understand and would be fine sleeping outside. The stars look stunning tonight, and I wouldn't want to overstep your boundaries or anything like that. I know you said that it was fine already, and maybe I am worrying too much about it, but I know that feelings are things that are constantly changing, so I always like to double or triple check to be safe about it. To be honest with you, I was really hoping that you would still be okay with it because I was definitely looking forward to this. Don't get me wrong, I don't have any problems with anyone here. If I did, I wouldn't be on this trip at all. But out of everyone, I was looking forward to getting to spend time with you the most. Sure, I've known the rest of the crew longer and we do have pretty tight bonds, but I've found a lot of enjoyment in the energy that you exude, and I think it would be nice to get to know you better. Plus, as much as my ears are still ringing, Jess cannot stop raving about you, and what she lacks in volume control, she definitely makes up for with a very solid judge of character. You want proof? Sure. Okay, this is perfect, actually. So, the floor base of this whole group was me, Jess, and Arasha. We were the only three people in finance classes whose favorite movie wasn't Wolf of Wall Street, so we naturally just gravitated towards each other. After 6 months or so, Arasha met both Roy and this other guy named Carl, and she wanted to bring them both into the fold. So we had a quick hangout session in that building by the library. Carter, I think that's what it's called. And as soon as they left, Jess said that she thought Roy was great and could not stand Carl. Arasha insisted on bringing them in and kind of forced my hand on it. So we all started hanging out. A couple weeks later, Arasha and Carl start dating and they seem happy together. I didn't have anything against the guy, although I definitely did get along better with Roy. Anyways, they date for about a month until Arasha figures out that Carl had his hand in a lot of different cookie jars while the two of them were together. She broke up with him, we kicked him out of the group, and now, before anybody gets in, they have to go through a screening process from Jess. Exactly, because how the heck could she tell that from 1 hour of knowing a person? I'd like to think that I'm pretty good with comprehending first impressions, and I had no idea he was a scuzzbag. No, sorry. I was just thinking about something she told me when we were coming up here. Maybe I'll tell you later. But for right now, I have a question to ask you, if you don't mind. So, don't get mad at her, but Jess told me that you struggle with social anxiety. I think that might be part of the reason why they paired us up together because we have that in common. Yeah, it's true. If it wasn't for Arasha coming over to me and badgering me about my laptop background of me and my dog every single day, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Yeah, I have a dog and a cat, and they're best friends, and I cherish them more than anything else in the world. Do you want to see? So, to make it fair to them, the three of us sat down and had a conversation, and I didn't want either of them to get jealous, so Here is L as my lock screen and Dakota as my home screen. I gotta say, I am flabbergasted. You are the first person to ever catch that. I think the Fanning sisters are super talented, and I grew up on a lot of Dakota's movies, and Elle is just good in everything she does. But more importantly, I love both of their names, and they definitely fit their respective personalities. Sorry, I got a little off track there, because how could I not when talking about animals? What I was going to ask you is how you're feeling around everyone. You seem to be doing great, but considering the fact that we're wired the same way in the brain, I know that can sometimes be a little bit of an illusion. No, that is fantastic news. I know there are some people here that can be a lot, but they are so welcoming, and as soon as you're here, they consider you one of them. Without trying to sound too cultish, and trust me, we are all too lazy to put in the necessary energy to running a cult. It is actually really like we are all family. The Friendsgivings that we have are better than any Thanksgivings I've ever had with any of my family. There's no expectations, you can just be who you are, as long as it's not an overtly bad person or just a bad person in general, and everyone loves you for it. All of the people who have started dating inside the group are still together. There's a couple, Mark and Amber. They aren't here right now, but they're actually getting married in the fall, and they met for the first time at one of our hangouts. It's a sense of community that is so hard to find in your 20s, and I couldn't be happier that you feel comfortable here already. Slick. No, I haven't dated anyone in the group. In fact, I haven't dated anyone since I started the group. It wasn't for a big reason or anything like that. I think I just wanted to become the best version of myself that I could before I introduced myself into someone's life in that way. I had a lot of baggage and wounds to work with, but I did, and it's been about 6 months since I got out of therapy, and I feel really good about where I'm at right now. Thank you. That's really kind. I'm really glad you're feeling comfy, though. A lot of people feel a little bit out of place at the first group event because of both the sheer amount of people and surprisingly how supportive everyone is. Do you remember Kyler, the guy with the green beanie and the glasses? The first time he came with us to something, it was a concert in the city, and he didn't know what we were going to see, and he got really emotional and flustered when he figured out it was for his favorite artist. Oh, you'll have that type of initiation if you decide to stick around. Just make sure you act surprised so nobody knows that I may have let the secret leak, alright? So, do you really want to know what I was chuckling about before? I may have heard from a very loud bird that someone in this tent might have a crush on another person in this tent. What can I say? I have seniority. You've known her for 6 months, and I've known her for 6 years. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Would you be less embarrassed if I told you that I am into you as well? Well, you've been around for a month now, and although we've never talked alone in a confined space for this long before, as a fellow social anxiety haver, you have to know that we are very observant people. I've seen the way you make sure people are comfortable, which is why you fit in here so perfectly, and I've seen you display genuine care and kindness to others, including me. You're cute, your aura is astonishing, and at the end of the day, I just think you are really swell. Good, because if this was an elaborate prank that Jess was pulling on me, I would have gotten in my car and never looked back. Since it's true, though, and that yawn tells me that we are both pretty tired, I think some cuddles might just be in order. I have thought about kissing you as well, but I'm worried where that path will lead, and it's probably somewhere that's not suitable in a campground surrounded by our friends. Cuddles it is then. So, where do you want to have our first date? Because Mark keeps telling me about this Benihana place that is supposed to be amazing. Roy's actually a chef there, and I think that would be pretty nice.